big opportunity. It's a big risk if you don't do it. And my guess is that we'll see some regions rise to that opportunity and move people in there, and they will thrive in the next decade or two. You see other regions that will not take advantage of that opportunity, and they will have real problems unless they can pull back some of those baby boomers out of retirement and hope that they can retain as many as they can. But that's quite a bet you're making. It may come out. Maybe the baby boomers don't want to ever retire. You know, that they want to continue. Nobody knows exactly how people are going to do that, or it's going to be a mixed bag, you know, part-time, nobody knows. But it's potentially a great opportunity. But what's interesting here, you see, even at the mid-level, twice as many jobs are going to be replacement jobs as new openings on an annual basis over the next 10 years. Okay? So now you can, if we break it into some broad categories of occupations, like sales occupations, you can see almost 3/4 of those occupations will need to be replaced. Of jobs, people in those occupations. You look at things like, let me see, health care practitioners, it's about a little over 50% production. Well, even if you have a sector that's losing jobs, whatever you have left in that sector may be needing to increase. So this is what puts back on the table sectors that may have historically in the last few years lost jobs, like your forest products, broadly defined industry. They definitely now have a replacement need that they're facing. And these obviously are high-paying jobs, good jobs. These are possibilities for people if you can figure out how to connect people to opportunity there. So you can see there's quite, and depending on the sector, there's more of a replacement challenge than not. But again, more information than you've had before. This sort of thing, there's no right answer to what to do about this. But again, if you're like me, this at least gets me thinking about, okay, I can see the reality and the challenge on my hands, and maybe the opportunity, if I can think of creative ways to take advantage of it. All right, if you put all this together across our 6, we've got our top 50 occupations with the most job openings. We've got the top 50 projected occupations with most job openings, and you can see there's a spread across all 6. We've actually sort of said how many of those occupations are in. So Diversified Healthcare has 12 of the top 50 that have been growing, and 14 of the ones that are projected to grow of those 50. So you can see, you can slice and dice this a lot of different ways, but that's that piece of it. All right. Part of our first part of what we did in the targets of opportunity, part 1, before we got to occupations, was once we once we pulled out the mother of all spreadsheets, and we pulled those sectors out, and we identified those 6 areas, we said, really the next step is you have to go beyond the numbers. You have to go out and actually talk to real people, real employers. We pulled together employers in each of the 6 areas. And we basically said to them, we know you've been growing, because the numbers tell us that. And answer is 2 questions. 3, actually. One was, what has driven your growth? What have been the factors that have driven your growth over the past 15 years? Second question, what do you think is going to drive your growth in the future? Now they could have said, nothing, we're going to go downhill. None of them said that. All of them were very enthusiastic about their prospects for growth. And really the third question was, what do you need? Now what do you need to be successful? And most of them, at or near the top of the list, said talent. You know, that's the most important thing we need. Because if we can't get the people, the skilled people to drive these industries, it doesn't matter what kind of infrastructure we have, what kind of everything else we got, we can't get the people. Now that's not to say that the infrastructure wasn't important. It's for some industries more important than others. And what an interesting thread through here, just a small aside, was that a lot of these sectors are very dependent on internet access. And the better internet access they have, the more competitive they can be in global markets. So it enlarges our sense of what infrastructure means now, right? Infrastructure used to mean good highways, good utilities, good wastewater, all those sort of things. We need to really think about expanding our definition of that. We don't have, again, you don't have control over all those levers. So somehow, collectively, you have to cause something to happen so that you can be a leader in broadband access on these things, because it ties into so many of these different industries, as you'll see. And we didn't go looking for that. It was interesting, because this was really a project about workforce development. But we asked an open-ended question. And they said talent, but then we had also a few other things. Okay, so we asked each of them this, and real quickly I'm going to show you what they said, give you a little sort of a feel for it, of what those drivers are. I'm going to show you kind of the occupational distribution. Just to get a feel for how these sectors play out and kind of the richness of the information that we have here. That will be, we'll actually be publishing this next month, I guess, in July. So in healthcare, clearly a growing aging population has been a driver for growth. The fact that people can't migrate easily outside the region, because it's a big, in some cases, isolated region, so they don't necessarily leave. That has helped drive growth. But most importantly, it's been a long-term restructuring to healthcare alternatives. All these other kind of sectors, from outpatient care to home health care, residential care, all these kinds of things that has helped drive growth. And interestingly enough, administrative complexity has also helped drive some of the growth.